Hey, my fellow family members at MBC, how are y'all doing? Hope you're doing fine and well in work and school and whatever's going on in your lives right now. Just wanted to let you know that I am having a good time here at Ensenada State University.
It's like,
making new friends, meeting new people, eating some pretty good food, not really, learning and really doing the best to serve God in the process. So I was actually asked to come home this weekend so I could share about my experience on MBC's most recent missions trip to Ensenada, Mexico. But unfortunately I was not able to make it back this weekend to be here at MBC live to speak to you guys. So I'm here in San Jose, just recording a video of me sharing about my experience, and I've actually gathered together some friends to reenact some of the things that happened. I'll start off by saying what a great experience I had on this missions trip. I got to meet some very friendly people and made friends with a lot of the kids that we got to spend time with down there. I actually learned more Spanish in this 1 week than I had learned in my entire life. While all of these things are good and essential to a great experience on a mission trip, my initial intention was to not only go there to share the love of Christ to these people, but to also grow in my own spiritual walk. I was actually going through some pretty hard struggles. I was hoping that God would really show himself to me during my time here service in Ensenada. So before actually leaving for our trip, the youth part of the missions community met countless times during weeks prior to plan. With Jeremy and Taylor in charge, we knew we would have great leadership down there, so for me, they helped me with reviewing for lessons and really just giving their input on it, which helped me a lot. Angelina, Millie, Maggie, and Kayla were in charge of crafts, and I could tell that they put a lot of effort into it. And then Daniel, Eli, and Matt were in charge of games. I remember one of the games where it was called Zombie Tag or something, where 3 people were picked as zombies, and you had to go around tagging other people, and they would become zombies. Kind of like Sharks and Minnows, sort of. Yeah, think of it like that, except with a bunch of... And Alicia and I were put in charge of lessons. Honestly, it was a little frustrating at first, but I prayed every night that God would really use me to present his word to the best of my ability. And with Alicia's help, it relieved a lot of the stress that was brought upon me through planning them. So day 1, we arrived at church at MBC at 5 a.m. in the morning to leave on a 13-hour trip to Ensenada. After a very long drive, we finally arrived at Francisco Camacho's, the missionary who we were serving there, his compound at around 9:30 p.m. I remember quite well that it was a pretty hot night and everybody was sweaty and nasty. It also spawned a 3-day chain of not showering for everyone. But don't let that stop you from thinking about serving on a mission trip. So the area we actually got to serve in Ensenada was this place called the Colonies. And Francisco called it this place because it was literally hills and hills full of shack-like houses, just bunched together. And it was really just the poorer area of Ensenada. A lot of the houses didn't even have electricity or heat. However, we got to work at a church building that Francisco had built in the middle of the colonies, and kids would mainly be drawn to go to it because of, I guess, free food that Francisco would provide for them. Our job as a youth was to basically provide a VBS for them, but it was a little rough on the first day. Most of these kids have never seen a Chinese person before. We got called Chino a lot, which is Spanish for Chinese, I think. Also, most of the kids struggled with paying attention during our first day's lesson, mainly because none of them had ever been exposed to a Sunday school-like environment, or even the Bible. I don't exactly remember which lesson Alicia and I had planned for our first day, but a lot of the kids were confused, and it probably looked a little bit something like this. Class, drop your stuff. We're gonna start learning about Bible right now, alright? So today, we are going to learn about Jesus and how he healed a blind man. So, this is the blind man. Alright? And this is Jesus. Big J. Alright? So, what we're going to do, oh yes, question.
How did Jesus heal the blind man?
Jesus healed the blind man by throwing dirt on his eyes, so his dirt spots. Alright? So this shows how powerful Jesus is and how his miracles can affect us in many ways. Any questions? And then, alright, you can...
¿Qué? No comprende.
Actually, it wasn't too much like that. Fortunately, we did have an awesome translator named Zuri. Zuri is Francisco's adopted daughter, and she is a very nice and sweet girl who wasn't shy to introduce herself at all. She has met Chinese people before, sunset, but she was really open to us, and we quickly became friends. Something I will also never forget on day one is when a kid named Angel, boom, locked me in the bathroom, and I was stuck in there for over 5 minutes until he let me out.
Tómala.
But Angel was actually one of the coolest kids I met that week. Actually, I got a chance to bond with him over the course of the 5 days we had with him. I talked about soccer with him. He was also one of the few kids who listened to me during the week. In addition to Angel, I got to bond with a few more kids who were Irving, pronounced Irving, Jeremy, and Aaron. But in the next few days, we found out the lessons got easier to teach, mainly because the kids started to listen more. They even memorized the memory verses we gave them, and it seemed like a lot of the kids enjoyed the stuff they got to take home. Crafts became less stressful, and as for games, we could tell that the kids had a lot of fun. Just seeing how the kids responded to us playing games with them and just spending time with them really showed that they loved having us there, and giving them camuchis. For those of you who don't know, camuchi is a Spanish term for piggyback rides. So yeah, the ice cream, it's just so good.
Oh my gosh, I know, like I ate it, I was like, this is the best thing in the world.
Strawberry ice cream. Camuchi! On a more serious note, I began to reflect on what I observed during the week, so far after day 3, and I started to think about my purpose for being here and what I've learned. Like I said, I signed up for this missions trip to secondarily help myself grow in my walk with Christ in terms of stepping out of my comfort zone to reflect His glory, sharing the gospel with others foreign to me, leaving me to rely on nothing but Him for guidance on what, and primarily focusing my heart on nothing but God. After seeing what I had been through already with these kids, I thought about how much God is working in them. I mean, with only having so little, no electricity, no heat, no toys. Some of them didn't even have parents to go home to because they were always working. Could God fill them with so much joy when they have minimal stuff? And I started to think about my own life and how much of the stuff I own are really necessary for happiness. I realized that I take a lot of things for granted, and that most of what I own are pure luxuries. I believe that God had used us, the missions team, to show His love, to spread the gospel to these kids' lives, to let them know that there are people out there that care about them, and that there is a God who loves them just as He loves you and me and you. Because He loved us so much, He sent His one and only Son to die for us on the cross, so that if we believe Him, we shall have eternal life in heaven. And that is the gospel. I want to say I've never seen so much joy and happiness in one group of kids than any other camp or event that I have been to. I definitely feel that God had called me to serve on this missions trip to help my own goal, as well as fulfill some of His plan for me. Just thinking about how these kids can be brought to joy with just simplicity makes me want to devote my heart to a God that loves. There may be struggles, and trust me, I've been there. But you have a God that will always be with you to give you comfort. And that's exactly what I saw in these children during the small amount of time we had with them. I realize that I've taken up a bunch of your time, and I might be going over time, but it's really just a lot of stuff I could share about, but I'll stop here. Overall, the whole missions trip has been a blessing on my life. Taking such an opportunity has really put a different perspective on teaching the gospel to me. And I hope that you guys think hard about going out into the world and serving on a missions trip. It doesn't have to be now, but someday. I also want to use this time to thank everyone who financially supported me for this trip, which are my family, grandparents, and cousins. I could not have gone without you. Finally, I also want to thank the missions team that I got to serve with. Thank you for Phil, who organized everything. Uncle Joby, who drove us pretty much everywhere. And for all the dental work that you performed on these people. By the way, best chef ever. For Uncle Cam and Auntie Nora, just for everything that you did to prepare for food, or just really making sure everything was in place for us at the compound. For Jeremy and Taylor for being excellent leaders, and also for helping me out with the lessons that I had to plan. Really improving my methods of forming and creating them. So thank you. Billy, Maggie, Kayla, and Angelina. You guys put so much hard work into all your crafts, and I know the kids loved them, and I honestly enjoyed making some of them myself. Matt, Daniel, and Eli, for all of your effort into creating some very fun games for the children to play, and to Alicia, for giving your best input and helping me out with our lessons. I really couldn't have done it without you. Alright, I know I'm running low on time, but there's just one Bible verse I want to share with all of you to encourage you to someday serve on a missions trip. It is in Mark 16:15, and in the ESV version it says, "And he said to them, 'Go into all the world and proclaim the gospel to the whole creation.'" And also, thank you, church family, for all of your support and love over the years. I know I'm running super overtime, but I never got to thank all of you individually. I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to do my absolute best here at San Jose State. And don't worry, I will come back and visit you all soon. So, thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you all soon.